Game Watch Gallery. Wow, Game really, guys? Game Watch Gallery?
Yes. Yes.
Game Watch.
Oh, 2 is in second.
Game Watch Gallery with 53%. Streets of Rage at 24. Rage at 15, and Codename Viper at 7. I don't know why you guys want Game Watch Gallery that badly, but all right.
Because it's freaking Game & Watch. Why not?
It's fun, but I mean, they're like super short minigames that will probably either take a while or just end super fast. Which technically, all things considered, is not that bad for a fortune cookie stream.
I wonder how many people voting for it actually know what the Game Watch Gallery is.
Well, they're gonna find out soon enough.
For those of you who don't know, the original Game & Watch galleries were, I do believe, made by kind of like I want to say by the same hardware as like a calculator, with just the different types of screens.
What is this?
No.
An actual Game & Watch
Close.
system.
Yeah. The actual Game & Watch systems had, I would equate it more to a watch than a calculator.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hence the watch in the name.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you keep explaining, then we're gonna go to cut to commercial. So I can find the game.
Would you compare it to like a Tiger Electronics sort of thing?
Yeah, it's the precursor to those Tiger Electronic games.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, even better is people here might remember these. The little handheld games you used to get in like kids meals at like McDonald's or Burger King.
Right, yeah.
The exact same thing. It's essentially 1 or 2 button games. Sometimes you had a D-pad, sometimes you didn't, and you did a very simple task over and over and over in varying difficulties until you ended the game, usually because of buffer overflows.
Right.
And then they all included things like watch functionalities. Fun fact is the Nintendo DS got inspired by a Game & Watch game that had 2 screens and it folded on itself.
Random, not so fun fact. When I mentioned the Tiger Electronics stuff, the Tiger Electronics Gamecom had one very common trait with other Tiger Electronic games, in that it only had one sound hardware channel. So all the sound effects and music for the game had to share one sound channel that was monophonic, mono-aural.
But you have to admit, the Batman game board had amazing sound for what it was.
When you could actually hear the sound.
Yes.
Between the horribly down sampled wave files and the blip-bloppy square wave music.
All right, we'll be right back.
I mean,
Sorry,
I
was enjoying the conversation, but I had to interject. So I was like,
yeah, you're fine.
Want to say something?
I've seen some artists do pretty amazing things with a single audio channel. With a piezoelectric speaker, for all intents.
I mean, you could talk about how Tim Fallon made amazing beeper music with the single channel in the ZX Spectrum, but the ZX Spectrum had a more capable single sound channel than the Gamecom had, partially because people actually developed software for it.
That's also true. Yeah, you would think that the Gamecom coming later would have more people being able to pull from older hardware, but it never really works that way.
I mean, the Gamecom came out in 1997. It having one sound channel was inexcusably bad.
It was deplorable.
I mean, compared to other game consoles that were available at the time, let's see here. Well, the Game Boy had 3 sound channels, which was still better than what, that was. Let me see. I believe it was 3 or 4 channels. I think it was.
I can actually look that up really quickly. I have a table in front of me I can look up.
No. You're right. It is actually a 5-channel, similar to the NES. 2 pulse waves, a PCM channel, a noise generator, and then audio input from the cartridge. But so 5 channels of audio, basically there. The gamepad was comparable to the Master System. In fact, I think it's identical to the Master System in terms of baseline sound capabilities, which was the same sound device as what was heard of the Tandy machines.
Yes. Or very close to it.
It's very similar, maybe with an added noise channel. And then you had other 1997 handheld game systems. I think the N-Gage was more capable, but that was 2003. I'm trying to think, what was the 2007 handheld system that would be comparable?
What are you comparing it to? What are you trying to compare?
the Gamecom, which was 1997. So you got the Game Boy as an option, the Game Gear, and I think those are the only main options at the time.
Oh no, you had the Game Boy, the Game Gear, the SNK Neo Geo Pocket / Pocket Color. 2
But
years
the
later, the Wonder Swan came out.
Right, the Pocket came out a year after. I was trying to think of things that were released when the Gamecom was out, but the Pocket is close enough to count because it had what? It had 5 sound channels. It had
Did it? I thought it had 3 plus a noise.
It had 3 plus noise, but it also had it had direct access to 2 digital analog converters, which I believe allowed it for extra possible sounds, but at days had 4 sound channels. But the point is, the Gamecom having only 1 sound channel was inexcusable because there's no way you could do the types of games it wanted to do effectively with using sound files and otherwise. So
well, don't also skip the fact that it also had things like 4 grayscale colors, which the only other game system ever to have that was popular as a handheld would have been the original Game Boy. You work with that, you're working with, but they did things like an 8-bit processor and 16 megabit game cartridges, which is big for something like that, and decided to give it the world's most unimpressive hardware to work with.
Right, and that's really kind of the thing about the Gamecom. There's certain things that it could have done if it had a better screen, if it had better sound capabilities on it.
If the games use the touchscreen capability.
If it didn't have, let's see. So the question is, what is the most depressing game on it? Not the worst, but the most depressing game on there.
That's a good question. Let's see here.
I would say it's somewhere either between Sonic Jam.
Oh, I forgot there's a Sonic game for it.
Or Resident Evil 2.
No, Resident Evil 2 is definitely the most. Oh wait, no, there was the Duke Nukem 3D port.
On
Are you guys trying to figure out the best game that was on the Gamecom?
No, the most depressing, not the worst.
Oh, well then I can answer that easy. Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
But that wasn't even released on.
Oh come on, they tried though. They released. There's a demo out there somewhere, I believe you can play of the game.
I gotta see the demo of that. That definitely would be the most. And also Metal Gear Solid. Though honestly, Metal Gear Solid had a better chance of working than Symphony of the Night.
Yeah. Wasn't there also a racing game for it?
That would be Indy 500. Indy 500 is a great example about why the single sound channel is a complete non-starter on a system like that. I mean, Hal, what's funny on Ashen actually had a what device was it? It was something called the short-range messaging device.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Can't remember the name of it, but I know what you're talking about because of yes.
All right, let's jump into, for some reason, Game & Watch Gallery 2.
It's gonna be fantastic.
I mean, I like the Game & Watch Gallery games. I'm not gonna say no. Obviously, I wouldn't own them if I didn't like them. But I just think it's a funny choice for the stream. Let's see what we got here. Our choices are Parachute, Helmet, Chef, Vermin, and Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I was right.
Yes, the Cybeco. That's right.
Actually, yeah, I'm going to show Donkey Kong in classic mode, just for people who don't know what a Game & Watch properly looks like. All right, so this...
anyone here who's played... Oh, sorry.
Sorry. So this is a Game & Watch. I feel like the silence also needs to accompany this, because there is no music. Fascinating. Oh, and I've got hit. Oh no. But I've got 4 points, so it's okay.
God, this takes me back to childhood. Holy
yeah, I remember
shit.
playing, like, I have, in fact, sitting on my desk right now, 2 Game & Watch games. Like, not these, not the systems, I mean, like, I've got the original Super Mario Brothers one, and the ball one that Club Nintendo was giving out. So I have working Game & Watch systems on my desk, but, I think this is a good collection. Otherwise, and crap, dead. Cool. I don't think I've ever beaten Donkey Kong.
Honestly, I think that you have a good chance with some of the higher resolution platforms that exist now to do a better representation of these games. Just because, I mean, the biggest weakness on the Game Boy to really show the classic version is that you really can't recreate that really smooth LCD line work.
Yeah. To be fair, like, the modern versions they add in of each game, though, really good. Like,
well, yeah.
Like, I'm playing the modern Donkey Kong one now just to show it, and it's a solid game.
I mean, this was actually Game Boy Color had a lot of really surprising titles on it, despite it seeming kind of more niche-like as a platform when I thought about it at the time, because I didn't really care that much. I was more about the Game Boy Advance and the Game Boy Color, but...
Well, when the Game Boy Color came out, you gotta remember the other biggest competitor was the Game Gear to a degree.
Sure.
And so it definitely did something different. It allowed you to play your original Game Boy games in color.
Now, here's a fun little cycle back earlier in the conversation. So we talked about the DuckTales remake. So mentioned Jay Kaufman doing the music for it. Two of the earlier games he did music for was Shantae for the original Game Boy Color, and also Who Wants to Be a Millionaire for the Game Boy Color.
Wait, what?
And,
Interesting.
yes, he did the music for the Game Boy Color version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And let me tell you, he actually does an extremely accurate rendition of the various music from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
I find that amazing.
You have to listen to it. It actually is surprisingly cool sounding.
The only thing that surprises me more was on the Game Boy was Beat Mania. Or no, Dance Dance Revolution. Dance Dance Revolution.
I had fun with that.
The Game Boy had a very capable sound chip. In some ways, it was actually more capable than the stock NES sound chip. Because of the, I believe it had a wavetable channel. And that one sound channel made it a lot more flexible than the regular NES.
Mm-hmm.
Though for me, John, you know that I have a twin Famicom at my house, and that's because I like to play some of these Japanese games that have the extra sound channels.
Yeah.
And ideally, what would have been the perfect stock NES would have been the VRC6, the one that had the Japanese version of Castlevania 3. If every game had access to those sound channels, man, it would have sounded awesome. It also would have been
I don't know if anyone has never heard the sound channels for Castlevania 3, the Japanese version. Absolutely amazing in comparison to the one that we got in North America.
Granted, the one in North America was impressive for the fact they had to remove 3 sound channels. They had to remove basically almost half of a little bit less than half of the sound channels that were in the game to make it fit in the US version. So, yeah, VRC6 is the mapper chip in question.
If memory serves, didn't the Sonic CD Japanese side actually finally get released for a remake?
Yeah.
And I know that the re-release on iOS has both the American and Japanese soundtracks on it, at least.
Same with the Xbox version. Xbox and PS3, I believe, has those as well.
Yeah. Let's see. GoviNetCom mentions that there is a remix project that a guy by the name of RushJet1 did of Mega Man 3. He basically remade the entire soundtrack using the VRC6 chip, which is really cool sounding. And there's been some other folks who've done some really cool VRC6 based tracks, and it's for me, it's like the right number of channels, 8, because some of the other sound chips added more, and it wasn't as impressive. But that's me being a geek about this.
Well, no, I think when you get the more than 8, though, you get into more than you need for some of the games.
That's exactly it.
They overuse it.
Right. That was the case in Shin Megami Tensei. No, not Shin Megami. In Megami Tensei 2, which I actually have a copy of, where all they did was they used extra sound channels to double the original music from the first game, and it just sounds denser and it doesn't do anything else. So
I think there also has to be something said for the fact that I think part of the reason we didn't get these sound channels is because of the way the systems had to be designed for our market.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. That also because Nintendo was manufacturing the cartridges in the US and European markets as opposed to the publishers themselves, which restricted which mapper chips could be even used.
Yeah.
So
I know there's a lot of people who didn't even realize that, like, a lot of the video game sounds for Japanese consoles sound completely differently because of just even the way it's presented from the console to the television.
Here. Yeah, Lizer is talking about Gimmick, which was released in Scandinavia or some other country as Mr. Gimmick. But Gimmick is probably the most expensive Famicom game, like regular Famicom game, not one of the weird collector items out there, because just getting a cartridge by itself, I think I pointed this out to you, John, it's like $200.
Yeah, no, I've been looking at repros for the game. That's my way of thinking of getting Gimmick, because then it's like only $40, but...
Right, but for me, I have to get original Japanese because the extra sound channels are the only reason why I want to get it.
Fair
And
enough,
you need
yeah.
it. You need an original Famicom cart because you could flash the ROM on it and it wouldn't matter because you need the actual physical memory mapper on there to actually do the sound channels.
Oh
properly.
god, yeah, how would the repro sound in that case?
The repro is a port over of Mr. Gimmick, which is the European version. Most likely, what they've done is they've taken a NTS. Is they either used that one and done a correction to make it run an NTSC properly, which is probably the way they had to do it, or they did the lazy route and just ported the Japanese version and just let the extra sound channels disappear. That's
Which
my
is
assumption.
terrible.
Yep. Arcus. I know about the VRC7 chip because I bought 2 copies of Lagrange Point my first time I went to MagFest. And I have my 1 copy, and I gave the other one to Justin Carmichael, who's known as Wario, because I just saw 2 copies and I figured he would enjoy that.
I'm surprised you didn't already have it.
It's one of those things that most people don't really pay attention to because it's not that well known of an RPG. It's more well known to guys like me than to RPG fans because.
But I mean, like,
it's the
Wario or Justin's already always about like Japanese
Sure.
games, to be blunt. So I felt like he would have at least known about it.
He heard of it, but he just didn't have a copy of it. At least I don't think. And again, from my understanding, it's an okay Japanese role-playing game. Its main gimmick is that it has FM synthesis for its music, so it sounds like a Genesis game instead of a Famicom game.
Ah, gotcha.
Well, that's kind of impressive.
Yeah. But I actually have a good number of games that have the special sound chips in them, including games like Esper Dreams 2 and Mappy Kids. And I also have a couple of Famicom Disk System games like the original Metroid, Kid Icarus, and Legend of Zelda, which all have extra sound channels. This is the stuff I
Damn.
geek out about.
I screwed
No,
up.
it's fine. It's pretty impressive stuff considering the time, the era, anyways.
Well, not only that, but it also shows to the fact that really good music can sometimes set up an atmosphere for a game, and not only that, but it's more memorable because you would think of that type of environment. So that's
I wonder if
what
there's
I
any
see.
cases that could have been made for really good music for a Japanese game, not making the port to the States, and that being part of the reason why the game didn't take off in the States.
Huh,
The
well-
European market.
I would say, it'd be hard to say. I mean, there's a lot of factors that came into play with the NES. You got to remember the publisher limitations that were made at the time, hence why people. And I think that came down more to it. And I mean, because you look at Sunsoft, for example, and they were able to do some pretty clever stuff with their sound work, including Journey to Silius, and then basically and Blaster Master, and then by proxy those 2 games. Fester's Quest, which music-wise is just fantastic.
Oh, definitely. The music for Festus Quest is probably the only thing
That's the only thing anyone really likes about that game, to be fair.
I had
It
fun
is.
playing it. I had fun playing the game for the
It's-
gameplay, but that's the only thing I remember is the music.
Right. I mean, the thing about it is that the gameplay was basically just a modified Blaster Master, and it unfortunately emphasized the worst parts of Blaster Master.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Someone mentioned yes. The Famicom Disk System had an extra sound channel. It was a basic wavetable, which meant you could arbitrarily draw waveforms. A lot of developers used this to make sort of FM synthesis sounding things. Some really good examples of good sounding Famicom Disk System games include, in my opinion, Kid Icarus, Metroid, Gyruss by Konami was a good one.
Oh, you mean
Castle-
Gyrus? isn't it?
Gyrus. No, I think it's
It's
the one that.
Gyruss.
Yes, it's Gyrus then, yeah. That one there, I forget what the Japanese katakana is, but that one is a great sounding Famicom Disk System game. Whereas like Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest is not a good sounding FDS game at all. It sounds fairly poor compared to the US release. Or
It was
Blast
definitely
Master.
a shame we
Is
didn't
it
get
Blaster
the,
Master or Master Blaster? I'm probably Master Blaster. I'm probably mispronouncing the title.
But it was definitely a shame we weren't able to get the disc system in the States. And that was
Yeah.
a huge loss for gamers here.
Oh, it's Blaster Master. I was right. Um. Yeah. Arctic is the. Arctic is similar to me in terms of his or her knowledge of this stuff, because that was Sunsoft's main gimmicks, that they actually used a baseline audio sample in their music for Journey to Silius, Fester's Quest, and Gimmick, which was a really clever trick. Nintendo did similar tricks in Mario Brothers 3 by having a timpani part in the sample channel.
Yeah, it's impressive to see what they could do with old music, really, and like square waves and chiptunes, everything. The fact that they could pull off so much with so little.
Yeah, I think the main two systems that were really impressive for it mainly were the NES and the Commodore 64, mainly because you had enough choices in the timbres and textures. You can get a lot of creativity with it, because if it had just square waves, like on the Tandy or otherwise, or the Sega Master System, the music just sounds a little bit too... It's too hard to make it sound really varied.
Mm-hmm.
The egg is burnt, man.
Yeah, no, I went too far. I had to destroy it, so Yoshi didn't eat it.
Yoshi doesn't like his burnt eggs, or he doesn't like his black sausages. Wait, didn't say that out loud.
Yoshi doesn't like his black sausages. Well done.
But going to this game, I actually do remember playing this, the ever-living shit out of this, and it's sad to me that I actually lost this game and I have no idea where the hell it is.
Oh, jeez.
I have it,
I used
obviously.
to remember going to book sales with my mother, and I had a Game Boy Color. I had this game, one of the Game & Watch games. I had a Tetris game, and then I had Batman Forever, I think, for the Game Boy Color. And played the ever-living crap out of this and the Batman game.
To be fair, this is a good game, but I mean, like, you have to realize they're just small mini-games, essentially. This is the equivalent of a minigame collection for, like, the Game Boy.
Well, in a way, too, if this had multiplayer, it'd be actually a great party game as well, when you think about it.
I think one or two of the original Game & Watch games, or at least in collection-wise, had a multiplayer game. Like, I think Boxing was multiplayer. But majority of them, yeah, not. Shit. John, you're saying that like it's a bad thing. Okay, good point. Minigame collection is not necessarily a bad thing.
That's true.
Right. Let's see here.
But it's actually interesting how, again, kind of comparing this like to maybe Game & Watch in Smash now as the character. It's kind of interesting that even no matter what, some characters, even if you don't know them or very lightly remember them, they can still bring back some memories of like childhood experiences. So in a way, it's always nice.
It's games like this where a remake really shines, whereas changing the gameplay drastically doesn't really help it that much.
Right. In this case, you're not really changing the rules, just changing a little bit of the aesthetics and possibly the nature of the hit detection.
Yeah.
And that's basically it.
But I mean, they also add in the original, so you know exactly like where you're coming from in the first place. Like, once I fail this, I'm gonna show what original Chef looks like, and then we're gonna go Cookie, because I have a feeling people are probably done with Game & Watch Gallery too.
I mean,
It's getting kind of late too.
if you're talking about minigame collections, how many Warioware games have they made now?
5?
Like, I think more than 5.
Technically, those are micro games, sir.
Right.
Let me see. There's the original, the Game Boy Advance, DS. Or there's 2 DS ones. Sorry.
No, there's 2 Game Boy Advance ones. You remember, there's the original one.
Oh, sorry,
and
you're right.
Twisted.
I forgot about Twisted. You're right.
I have every WarioWare game because I won that WarioWare DIY contest.
Oh, did you actually?
Yeah, Kotaku had a WarioWare DIY contest to make like the best micro game, and it's one of the only few videos on my YouTube channel. But I made a functioning Japanese role-playing game combat system in WarioWare DIY.
Jesus,
That's
dude.
impressive.
In
I remember
one
seeing
day.
a video about that.
In one day.
Yes, in one 24-hour period, I designed it. It was like one of the only things I did in WarioWare DIY. I'll pull up the let's see, the DS version or the Wii version of the video. Which one should I pull up?
Wii version.
It's better sounding.
I actually remember when the Nintendo DS was originally out. There were only 2 games that I knew my friends ever played the living crap out of: the Super Mario 64 DS Versus and a Warioware game. I actually remember we played the ever-living crap out of that.
WarioWare Touch was actually pretty good. I have some fond memories
It was
of playing
fun.
that.
Oh yeah, WarioWare Touch was nice. But yeah, I designed everything here from the music to the graphics to the logic inside of the menu, because I actually have a nested menu system in the game.
Wow. All right, so now that's the modern version, and here's what the classic version of it looks like. A lot different.
Yes.
And
Also, for some reason, there's a devil. Or is that supposed to be a cat?
I think it's supposed to be a cat.
foreshadowing.
It looks like a mouse, actually. Oh, that's a cat. That's right, the one up there. Hmm. It wants to get some food.
So yeah, that's very different, all things compared. The mouse is on the bottom. That's what eats the food if I drop it. So while in the other one I had to make sure I was feeding Yoshi, this one I have to make sure it never touches. I feed no one. This food must be permanently kept in the air.
It must be burnt to a crisp.
This is also like the This is all the food that Game & Watch shoots out in Smash Brothers, by the way. The bacon, the fish, and the sausage. So have you ever wondered where the Mr. Game & Watch's bacon came from? You're watching it right now.
Or pretty much any of Game & Watch's majority moveset.
Enough of that.
I will say that the bacon in that, though, is quantum bacon because it is formed out of the bacon vacuum.
The bacon vacuum.
Yes, it's all part of the bacon entanglement.
All right, let's jump over to the cookie. I'm wondering, is this gonna be the last one or the second last one? Let's see how we're doing here.
Yeah, I posted a link. Sorry.
No, sorry. Go ahead. I was just sighing.
I posted a link to the Warioware DIY thing into the chat down there, so people can check that out if they want to.
All right. Meanwhile, our 4 games for this round are going to be Streets of Rage 2 for the Sega Genesis, followed by Mega Man 3 for the Game Boy Color, followed by Kung Fu for the NES. I'm going to leave it on there, even though we played it last stream. I really like Kung Fu. And
Kung Fu is nice.
Little Nemo, the Dream Master for the NES.
I saw a little bit of the movie actually recently.
I heard the movie's not that good.
The production on it is really nice, but I can understand where like people wouldn't like how the voice acting or the plot setup is, but the production values are really nice. You know, it's one of those nice. It's hard to say whether it's like Akira grade animation, but it's probably a little bit more polished than Akira in some ways.
All right, click on that straw poll and find out what we're playing next. Maybe unsurprisingly, Little Nemo's got a fairly big lead at the moment. Although it is slowly shrinking to Mega Man 3.
Brad will never get his Streets of Rage 2.
Hey man, Brad, I put it on the list, so I tried.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm actually just thinking about going to bed now. I've been basically straight coughing for like the past 30 minutes. So.
All right, Little Nemo's at 37%. Mega Man 3 is at 30. Streets of Rage is at 26. Let's give it 30 more seconds.
Come on, Streets of Rage.
I'm gonna ask this: is it bad that I have never even touched a Mega Man game?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
15 seconds.
Is it? It is. Well, shit.
It's bad.
Well,
Do you own
here's
a graphing calculator?
5,
yes.
4, 3, 2, 1. Mega Man 3 made a push, but didn't quite make it. When we come back from this break, we'll be playing Little Nemo, the Dream Master on the NES. See you guys then.
Hold on.
As Brad groggily goes to look up something.
Oh no.
Yeah.
John might know what I'm really looking up. Might. Where is it? Okay. Because there's a thing that exists. There's a thing that exists.
Okay, Doctor Izzle, I want to hear this argument. You're saying Mega Man 2 has not aged well. Why is that?
I could see an argument based entirely on that boss that uses the crash bombs.